whether or not Trump articulates properly the arguments that he's making, because the guy never articulates arguments properly. He's talking with his gut, and that's how people hear him too. His people that are
and how he connects with people.
Exactly.
That's what resonates with
it does.
Exactly. And so fair enough, people that are going to go ahead and look at the letter of the law, they're going to say Trump said this and he said that and it was wrong and blah, blah, blah. They're probably right. But the fact of the matter is, everyone does agree that because of COVID and because of the way the election was, it was a novel election. And for Trump to say, look, find me the votes because I know they're there. That's not saying go create votes. That's saying go count them.
And they did find votes later on.
Yeah.
They were like, oh, look, a USB with a bunch of votes on it.
Yeah.
But that's besides the point. So Trump never called for the termination of the Constitution. This is a lie from the corporate press. CNN runs the headline. Check this out. This is hilarious. Trump calls for termination of Constitution in Truth Social Post. Of course, the people who then don't follow the media or who don't follow news just see the headline and believe it's true. What Trump actually said, quote, Do you throw out the presidential election results of 2020 out? Do you throw the presidential election results of 2020 out and declare the rightful winner, or do you have a new election? A massive fraud of this type and magnitude allows for the termination of all rules, regulations, and articles, even those found in the Constitution. Then big tech, blah, blah, blah. So the issue there is this is not news. This is an opinion piece. Real news would say Donald Trump made a statement about fraud in the election and what it could result in. They would then go on to say, while some in the Democratic Party are saying this is Trump calling for the termination of the Constitution, others are pointing out Trump is saying that should there be a fraud, the rules have been thrown out and this allows people to navigate beyond the Constitution. He never called specifically for doing it. They just lied because CNN is opinion and not fact.
When it comes to having faith in the institution, I agree it's important, but I think it's also legal for people to lie, politicians to lie. And if they say there's fraud when there's no fraud, I'm pretty sure it's legal to do that. Mm-hmm. And since, politicians lie, I lose faith in the industry.
I can't do this, dude. Liz Cheney, this is an article from 2022.
Yeah.
Donald Trump believes we should terminate, quote, all rules. He never said that. Imagine if I said it like this. Section 230 allows for people to post obscene, disgusting, far-left psychotic content on social media and throw out all norms as it pertains to free speech. Is that me calling for the overturning of free speech?
Of course not.
And that's what they do. Whenever Trump says something, and by all means, I'm not gonna defend Trump on him having accurately articulated anything pertaining to the 2020 election. He gets criticized right now because he went on Joe Rogan, and when Rogan asked him about what happened in 2020, he didn't really have much to say. But I digress. They run these smears, and you know what? All that matters is he won the popular vote. Because people have seen through Liz and Dick Cheney's BS and the corporate press screaming and crying about how they're the real press and no one else is. But in reality, they're just lying the whole time.
Well, it didn't hurt that he was running against someone who had run a coup against the sitting president, Joe Biden, and had 107 days to campaign and was a horrible candidate, and frankly, I think
throw somebody in sideways,
that did not hurt. But I agree with you. He resonated with people, and unlike anybody expected, and
that to the point that Dudley was making earlier, like you can be critical of President Trump, but when you factor in the things like the novel election and stuff, it makes it really hard to say, okay, yes, Trump has to follow the letter of the law, but everything else the borders are kind of fuzzy, or the distinction between legal and illegal, or procedure, following procedure and not following procedure. If all of those situations are all fuzzy and kinda, and you're not sure and blah blah blah, but then when it comes to Trump, everything it must be the letter of the law exactly, blah blah blah. He said this and that alludes to this and blah blah blah. Then you're going to have people that look at the situation and they say, well, I don't trust either side. I don't believe that either side actually has honesty as their goal.
There were a lot of claims about 2020, and I just largely say I don't know. I think it was just ballot harvesting. Yeah. The funny thing is that article says that Pam Bondi was alluding to some kind of secret cabal or whatever. But as we know, it was Time Magazine.
Yeah.
That actually coined the phrase shadow campaign. Yeah. And I think they actually referred to it as a cabal, didn't they?
They did.
So
cabal.
When I read that.
Yes, they did. They said a well-funded cabal of powerful people were conspiring. They literally say conspiracy. Yeah. So Time Magazine wrote this article, Molly Ball did, and I love bringing it up because this just refutes so much of what they were saying. The secret history, the shadow campaign that saved the 2020 election, where they say a conspiracy was unfolding where a well-funded cabal was engaging in electioneering, blah, blah, blah.
Journalism at its finest.
When I read this, I was blown away that they actually printed it, because I'm like, this is coming out and literally admitting to doing everything they can to rig the election, right? That's the way that it reads when they all of the verbiage they use and stuff like that. And I sent it to some of my left leaning friends, and of course they're like, well, that's just politics. Well, I'm like, then what the hell do I care about if Donald Trump is saying, oh, find me the votes, because they're there? He wasn't saying find me the votes as in create them, and it becomes really hard. Again, like I said earlier, it becomes really hard for me to think, oh, well, Donald Trump has to be squeaky clean and right to the letter of the law, when Time Magazine publishes this and everyone on the left says, oh, well.
Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.